So we have just finished the NT Labs podcast with Bryony, the aquatic vet, and now she's gone. So thank you massively to Bryony for doing that. But we've got a tank downstairs, and we're going for like a Blackwater inspired aquarium. But also we have got a competition that we're going to be running with NT Labs again. So yeah, stick around because I can't remember the info off the top of my head. Now, if you've watched the channel for a long time, you'll have seen me scape this tank probably a couple of times now. So let me spin you around and show you what we're going to be doing. It's very formal with you two.
I know, it's so weird, and we have our little sheets. I was like, we look like news people.
Yeah, I'm going to forget what I need to say though.
Yeah, we'll check it now.
So this is the tank we're going to be working on. So this is like a 60 centimetre, but like, I don't know, 50 centimetres front to back. It's almost a cube. You can see how sort of chunky it is. And we're going to go for like a cool Blackwater inspired scape. And we've got awesome piece of wood. We've got some nice pods, some nice seed pods. And I think these are Lipple pods. Lipple tree pod. Yeah, so, but we've got lots more as well. The other thing we've also got sitting in on this scape is Ruby and Jono. Feels very formal in this setting, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, I like it though. We've just gone a bit blurry. There we go. I think it tried to blur out your face then for a minute. I'm not sure why. But anyway, let's crack on with this scape. We'll get everything out and get some sand in there and, well, yeah, start working on it. What are you going to ask me? Any cool questions? Have you got a list? There's a list on the floor. Oh my word. All right, let's crack on with the scape.
Better know a lot about Blackwater scapes. I'll be watching you very closely. Don't mess it up.
Turning into a bloody Spanish
It does feel very like...
It's like we're Ofsted inspectors.
Maybe we should give you a grade at the end.
Oh, brilliant. Hang on, if we're doing that, I'm going up to visit your tanks then. So we're going to go for an orange sand. Well, it's not orange, it's like beach colour. If you hear any voices in the background, Ruby's just chatting rubbish. Now, I don't want to use it all straight away because I've got a big piece of wood to go in here that hopefully is going to fill that back area. Oh, I like that. It's like a beach. So do you want to ask anything while we're doing? Do you want to start? Do you want some...
What kind of sand is this, Matt?
What kind of sand is this? There isn't really a technical term for it, I don't think. It's just they've all got names, so they normally name them, but it's, you find that this is, what's it called? Silica sand is a name that you'll see this under in some companies. But yeah, it's just a different coloured orangey style sand, which I think works with the Blackwater really well, because it's that like orangey, yellowy colour. Yeah, I think it looks really nice once you've got all the botanicals mixed in through it.
Because you're trying to make the water look like, well, not to sound obvious, black.
Yeah, well, it's like tea stained. So in nature you get two different types of Blackwater. You get lots, but you get like a Blackwater which is like sort of tea, that browny, blacky sort of colour. Displays itself as yellow as well as it gets less and less in the aquarium. And then you also get the red, so I don't know if you've seen that, but it's like almost like blood red sort of thing, and that's another type of like Blackwater you get. So you can get additives, you can get like little tea bags that you just chuck in and they release the coloration into the water if you want to. But this way, with the botanicals we're using, you'll probably end up with a little bit, but not masses. And then we've already soaked the Bogwood, so hopefully it won't be too bad.
Nice.
Cool.
Because what actually makes it... I'm going to ask a lot of questions because I don't know anything about Blackwater tanks, but what actually makes the water do that? And like, is it literally just the bits of leaf litter that are in it? So it's just dirt?
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty much. It's just as the leaves break down, they release tannins into the water, and that colours the water. So you'll see it in, slow-moving areas, and when you've had leaves sat in a puddle for a while, the puddle will go like a yellowy, orangey sort of colour. And obviously in the wild, in natural areas like, Asia's and Amazons and places like that, you get them under the forest canopy. The forest canopy just constantly drops things in there. And if it's slow moving enough, the water just turns that weird yellowy, orangey sort of colour. And it's quite good because there's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of health benefits as well with fish. Like, I've certainly found that like funguses and things like that can be helped by having a more natural leaf litter in the bottom of the aquarium. It does certainly help. But yeah, I think it's just a different way of doing things, isn't it? It's a natural, a bit more of a riverbed style sort of thing. And cool thing is we haven't done it in this one yet. Like, I think did we ever put leaves in this one? I don't think we did.
No, never.
No, just, yeah.
The first one was like a sort of forest, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was cool. It's like the jungly.
Yeah.
Sort of,
yeah.
That
The
big
second
bit of
was a
wood.
bit of an iwagami, wasn't it?
Yeah, big rocks and that.
Yeah.
So this is
Oh, what?
another different one.
Iwagami.
Iwagumi.
I said it wrong, sorry.
So you have like.
It's like feature rocks, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, each rock has a name. So there's like, you know, a focal point, such and such and such and such, and it has to be arranged in a certain way. It's not really, I just throw it in, have fun, see what it ends up, and yeah. So this big chunky piece of root is hopefully going to be our main feature, and it's really gnarly and stuck on a light unit twice. There we go. Yeah, so I'm thinking like that, maybe this one sticking up out, build the substrate up here, build the substrate down here, so that is like, oh, it just looks really scary actually, and quite textured. Like, I think I need to give you a close-up of that. Just look at all the features on that wood. Yeah, it's gonna look cool, but we do need to get some rocks and some wood in amongst it to build up our bank.
That is scary looking.
It is like proper like...
And it's like the place the hyenas live in
I was just
Lion
going to
King.
say that, yeah, the
Whatever
elephant
it's called.
graveyard thing.
Matt, what rock is that?
These are just pebbles. So we've gone just standard beach, or not beach pebbles, but like cobbles. I think they look really nice, to be honest. Like, and they're not a fortune. You know, the wood would probably be maybe 40, 50 pounds sort of thing. So some people, by the time you've spent 40, 50 quid on a piece of wood, the rock, depending on, like this is, the feature is the wood. So we don't want to take anything away from that. So the rocks are going to be perfect because they're not textured. They're not sort of, going to take any sort of emphasis away from the wood. But yeah, that's a cheap way of doing it. Big bag of cobbles, wash them off. You can always check them with like white vinegar. If they froth, don't use them because they're then calcium based. But most pebbles are solid, to be honest, and you don't need to really worry about it.
Wait, so you're not supposed to put calcium in?
Well, so any rock that's got something like calcium or a mineral in it that's high in will raise the pH. Generally, you normally need something a little bit like more strong than vinegar, but white vinegar will do it. If you drop it on it and it fizz or froths, then generally there's some sort of thing that's going to buffer your aquarium water pH up. So you don't necessarily, in a Blackwater, you wouldn't want to use it because it's going to be trying to fight against each other. But whereas like Riff Lake cichlids, it wouldn't matter too much because just chuck them in with it.
Wait, so should a Blackwater tank have different water test kind of parameters? What is it?
Just soft water.
Softer, okay.
Yeah, nothing exciting.
Just soft water.
Because it's more natural, I guess. I don't know.
It's just different habitats, isn't it? If you had a fast flowing stream, then necessarily you wouldn't have any leaf litter building up there. So it would all disappear downriver and it wouldn't stay in one place. Whereas this water that we're sort of recreating here will have very slow moving water, and you would end up having that leaf litter building up until maybe you have a flash flood or like a big storm and it washes some of it away. But some of it might be just like rice paddies, like just in a rice paddy where it's very slow moving, it never moves, water never moves around at all, and the leaves just build up and up and up and up.
Those seed pods look like something out of an Alien film.
I think they look a bit like feathers.
All that. Yeah, look quite cool.
Yeah, on a big open area. You can get a cool group of Corydorus in here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that'd be
we
good.
like the corys. Oh, well, that is part of another question. What fish sort of usually hang out in Blackwater setups?
Yeah, lots, to be honest. Like a lot more of our fish probably live in Blackwater than most people realise. So you'll find there's a lot of gourami species that will live in Blackwater. A lot of the Amazonian tetras and Corydorus and things like that will come from areas with lots of leaf litter. But then again, it's the habitat's really variable because like you look at something like a zebraplex that has hardly any wood or leaf litter in its area because it comes from like really fast moving rapids, but it's an Amazonian fish. So it's sort of, sometimes people brush it with the like, well, it's an Amazonian fish, it should have black water, it should have leaf litter, but there's so many different habitats that you've got to look at. It's a really tricky one, but a lot of your glowing fish, as daft as that sounds, a lot of the time the reason they glow is because the water can be a little bit murky or a little bit stained, so that colour shows through the water column way better than just being a grey, dull fish.
Yeah.
Like a headlight.
Adapted.
Yeah, exactly. You could get a dwarf cichlid if you wanted to. Like, don't get rams, but get something, easy to keep, like a cockatoo dwarf cichlid or something. Be nice. No, just male pair. Male-female pair would be nice. And they'll probably hang out in the coconut, the pods.
Oh, yeah.
They'll end up maybe breeding in one of them.
What kind of plants would you see in a Blackwater sort of scape?
So, like, officially, not a lot. Like, well, it varies again, but they are definitely fewer, I think, in the wild. You'll find that, like, most of the time, because depending on how acidic the water is, the plants don't tend to always do that well in it. That being said, I have seen pictures in the wild of like Anubias growing and certain stem plants and things like that. But then, like, if we're totally honest, the fully planted aquariums that we create, there's not many habitats that are like that in the wild. Like, when you look at a lot of the like Asian habitats, they're really rocky and like a few plants, a scattering of plants. There's not these like big swathes of like massive amounts of different species of plants all living in one area. You'll normally get like a big clump of Anubias or a big clump of one stem plant. So yeah, like having one or two plants is probably more natural than having a ton of different species.
So what plants are we going to put in here, Matt?
So I'll be honest, I don't really know. I sort of think that probably maybe some Java ferns behind the wood, coming out of the wood, so you've got a bit of greenery in there. I've also brought some crypts along, so maybe we'll put a couple of crypts like here. But I think the main focus is that leaf litter and those pods and stuff going through the aquarium. So yeah, I think just a couple of little plants. I've also bought some floating plants actually, which could work really well, just one little patch of them sort of thing. But yeah, we'll see. It's always hard with Blackwaterscapes because like, as you're building it, it sort of goes, oh yeah, that'll look nice with a little pocket of plants there. And again, you don't want to overdo it. One or two types is perfect.
I don't know if we've ever had floating plants.
No. Official donk.
Yeah. I quite like those because the fish like it, don't they? They like
Bit of shelter.
hide under it and chill.
Yeah, and you can just let it go crazy if you want to cover pretty much the whole entire top. Yeah, it just depends what you want it to look like. Right, so I couldn't find a scoop, so I've actually just used my Brazil nut pod, or Orico, I think they're called. But yeah, just use that to scoop some sand in behind this big bit of wood. We've got a few river cobbles that will just fill in that area. I don't want to go too mad on like rocks. I just want to keep it more woods and leaves and things like that. So really, I think next up I'm going to have a look at getting some of these pods in and getting them positioned.
Right, how often do you have to replace the botanicals? How often do they last, basically?
It varies. Like seed pods like this, like you can see how thick they are. Like they're going to take ages to break down. Obviously they'll get soft, but yeah, they'll take months and months. So yeah, probably not very often, to be honest, on the pods. On leaves, they break down obviously a lot quicker, and certain fish will graze and eat off of them, and shrimps will eat them. So, you know, leaves, you're probably looking maybe once every month or two, depending on what leaf you use as well. Like a mulberry leaf, probably a day or so if you've got shrimp in there. Whereas like the oak leaves that we're going to be using, they'll probably last a fair few months or maybe a month or two before you need to replace them. And yeah, when you do, just boil them up. Well, kettle, boil them up. Let some of the tannins release, they'll then sink, and then you can chuck another couple of handfuls in as you see fit. But I think that's the cool thing with a Blackwaterscape, is it obviously constantly evolves. So, you know, all the leaves break down and you haven't got that many left. And then, you know, in the wild, autumn would come, or I don't know, like a big storm would come, things would drop into the river, and you'd have a big influx of new leaves and new botanicals. So, yeah, it's quite a natural way of doing it, really.
There's a little spider on the tank.
The inside or outside?
Outside, I think.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Hello. Where's he gone? Oh, God.
Oh my goodness.
Not on the sleeve, please. Not up the sleeve, if you can.
What are you going to do with that?
I don't know.
Put it in a plastic
It's mine.
plant.
It's mine now.
Right, so I'm going to put actually a couple more rocks in, because I've just spotted a gap that's annoying me. And I think, like that, perfect. That's slotted in lovely. And I think also, like, this could do with like a little island of gravel or rocks or something. So I think just a few out on this outcrop to add a bit of interest out here. And then we'll get some scatter gravel in at the end to sort of, add a bit of texture and a bit of detail. But yeah, something like that's perfect to see.
What do you personally like about Blackwater tanks? Why are they nice?
I like the interactions of the fish probably the most. Like seeing a group of Corydoras actually going in and out of the leaves and like foraging. Like they'll forage in an aquarium, but if there's just rocks and wood and plants, they sort of just bumble about on top of everything. Whereas leaves, you get this proper weird interaction. Like I've got some bumblebee cats in one of my tanks, I had a big leaf in there, and the leaf was just like jumping and moving and like spinning around. And then out came a group of bumblebee cats. And I was like, oh, that's quite cool. That's like nice to see that, to be honest. So yeah, I quite like the sort of the natural interactions that you get from it. That's probably the biggest thing. And then, like I say, they do help with health and things like that for a lot of the Blackwater species. A lot of betters do better in Blackwater aquariums, or at least, Blackwater inspired aquariums. Because again, Blackwater is not subjective, but it's, you can have everything from just like 8 leaves chucked in there, just to add a little bit of texture and a little bit of difference, all the way through to like 100 seed pods, thousands of leaves, and that'd be like true proper Blackwater. And so it's a bit of a sliding scale as to how much you put in there. So we have got a few different pods to chuck in here. So we've got like these little ones that are Savu pods. We've got this one that I think is like a Brazil nut pod. This is called like Orioco or something. And then these ones, which are, again, something strange, Chapu's in. I like calling these Yorkshire puddings. Like people in America might not understand that, but yeah, they do look like a Yorkshire pudding a little bit. Not as tasty though.
How would you know?
I've definitely tried one.
Have you?
So we have got a bucket of boiling water, which is a little bit dangerous, but it's okay, we're fine, we're safe. I have pre-soaked these pods, but we are just going to chuck them in because they probably will still very much float. But that's okay, we can deal with that. We'll glue them to some rocks in a minute. And then we just got a handful of oak leaves, which I essentially harvested from the house, well, the tree near my house. So I'm going to get them in, get them soaking. I did have them dry, but I put some aquarium plants on top of them for the journey here, and now they're damp, so hopefully they won't take too long to soak.
So why do you soak botanicals, Matt, before putting them in?
So really it's just to, well, there's a few different schools of thought. It will obviously get rid of any funguses, any sort of things that might be living on there that you don't necessarily want to introduce into your aquarium. There shouldn't be anything on there, but that's a reason that a lot of people say they do it. The other reason is to make them sink, so the boiling water sort of makes all the pores expand, which then it means it takes on water quicker, so they should sink better. The problem is with the pods, they are so solid that they just take ages to sink and they take ages to take on water. And the last reason is it gets rid of a lot of the first initial batch of tannins. So it will release a lot of the tannins first off, and then you'll get a nice amount just like trickling out into your aquarium. Some people do just chuck them in, like give them a rinse under the tap, throw them in. Just depends, there's no real right way of doing it, and the reasons you do it are a bit like, do you actually need to worry about this? But yeah, I always do it just for safety reasons, not safety reasons, but habit, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them we'll need. I've got 3 in there and another couple, I think.
Is that a Java phone?
Which is a jar of
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, just like, I reckon 3. It'll be one there, maybe one there, and just fill that back edge with Java. That looks sick, bruv. So whilst we are waiting for the botanicals to soak and boil, I think I'm going to use some of these lush Java ferns. Like, they are proper chunky, and I'm just going to place them around the back of the wood, a bit like actually that sort of thing. Done, see? Don't even need to take them out of the pot, but we probably should. So we do need to prepare the plants, and they are always in one of these, well, they're not always in these pots, but most of the time they're in these plastic pots. So we just need to cut this away because, as you can probably see, the roots are like growing around and through the pot, which is a bit of a nightmare, but we'll prep all these, and then we'll probably just use some glue to glue them to the wood.
Oh, it's that rock wall stuff.
Why do you hate that so much?
Do you know, if you dry it, and then like get it on your arms, it'll make you itch like fiberglass. You know, like the fiberglass in the roof?
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awful. I come up in a rash now. I'm like almost allergic to it now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's terrible stuff.
You just don't like the texture of it, do you?
The texture. I landed on it.
No, not me.
Throw it back.
Yeah, I couldn't work it out because I was drying my hands with a towel. And every time I dried my hands with the towel, my arms would like go red and itchy. And I was like, what's going on? And I realised that I dried my hands after using these, or cleaning these up.
Sort of dried it onto your skin.
Yeah, and then it was just all the dry fibres of rock wool. So we are just going to use a little bit of cyanoacrylate glue. Oh, I've got sand on these now. And sort of position them around the back here and glue them to this wood. Just gives a nice backdrop to the wood then.
Does it almost create its own little internal ecosystem having leaves in there that sort of, I don't know, somehow like filters out some...
You'll get a lot more bacteria growing and things on them, which will probably aid in filtration. Like, it's not a definitive, bonus of having leaves in there, but, you know, you will get different bacterias and things growing that will aid, so yeah.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Little explosion of
What's the next
leaves.
bit?
The botanicals. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I was going to put a few more plants in, but actually I quite... With the leaves then coming out into this open area...
Yeah.
I like how open it is.
Yeah.
That would be so easy to clean.
Yeah.
Let's keep it then.
Are those the floating plants that you said about, or no?
No,
That's
it's separate.
No, I've got them.
And they just go in on the top, like just...
Floating.
Oh, okay.
Float.
They literally just float. I thought you might still attach them to something. Well, I don't know.
Clues in the name.
Thank you. No, I thought you might still
the
like...
way you went, so literally just float. Yeah, floating
No,
plants.
but like, I thought you might still have them attached to something, like growing on something.
No, they just float on the
They're literally just
surface.
leaves on the top.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't know, would I?
So I think we're going to... So I think we're going to go with just Java Fern in the back. I have got some crypts that, you know, I don't know. I don't think I want anything in this front area. I think a big group of catfish in this front area would look wicked, especially when we're looking at having all these pods in there as well, and leaves. Now, some of them are still floating, so I'm going to have to try and, like, wedge them and glue them and try and get them in there somehow, but I think we'll be all right.
Smell nice?
It just smells like tea.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Oh, yeah.
It just smells like tea, herbal tea sort of thing. You children not got any more questions for me now?
Well, wait, what was that thing called again? The
Savu.
cylinder one? Oh, okay.
Savu pod.
And what's normally in there?
Some sort of seed.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
Do you think will we get corries?
Yeah, we'll get corries.
What's a good number of corries?
6.
I don't know. 6? Oh, okay.
Well,
Oh,
decent
there's a
amount.
bug. Oh, yeah, there he is. Oh, what is that? It's like a flea. It's not a
Yeah, it's a sandhopper.
Oh, you make me itchy.
Is it going to bite me?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're venomous.
Ah! No, they're not. I know you're lying.
I know what to ask. I just thought of a question.
Yes, Jono.
Matt, what are your plans with your studio?
Oh.
Ooh. So,
that again because I don't like how I just did that.
you were very aggressive.
Yeah.
It was very violent.
I'm going to ask that again.
A lot, to be honest. Like, I don't know how to do it because there's a lot of different, not ideas, but essentially I'm going to try and do one of every type of tank. I suppose that's the easiest way to say it. So, like, I want to teach people how to start up a Malawi tank. I want to teach people how to start up a Blackwater tank. I want to teach people how to start up a fancy goldfish tank. So I think I'm just going to do, like, pretty much one of everything. So there'll be everything from, like, 2 foot to 4 foot, maybe even an 8 foot for the back wall. And yeah, just try and do a mixture of different aquariums, showing off different styles. Because I've worked in the hobby for so long, I have my favourite styles, but I've done them all. So I quite like, you know, even like a retro Malawi aquarium where you've got like the ocean rock and the coral rock. I think that'd be quite cool to show people that sort of thing. So yeah, I think just a massive amalgamation of different aquariums, really.
Cool.
Yeah, and just educational. You know, trying to show people what they can do with what, and yeah, enjoy fish keeping, I suppose.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah, it should be cool. I'm really looking forward to it.
Lots of content potential.
Yeah, it's not far off. Not far off. We got, yeah. Well, actually, by the time this video comes out, we're probably getting to the plasterboard, like, drying stage, or the plastering, and then getting it painted. Probably, I would think.
Oh, nearly done then.
Yeah, it might even be finished by the time this video's out. But that's pushing it. And then lastly, we have got a load of oak leaves to go in here. Now these seem to have all sunk, so should be all good now. And we're just going to scatter these pretty much everywhere. I think it's going to look good. Proper forest floor. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm pulling that face because I'm worried about your hands.
It's not that hot now. It's warm. Yeah, it's warm, but not hot. Right then. Just fill it up.
Right.
Just a little addition, I think, to the tank actually is one of the Java ferns glued to a rock. Just there. Just sort of fills that area in. This stick and the sort of Java fern just left a weird gap, so that looks a bit better. So that is me pretty much done, to be honest. The leaves have all, well, mostly sunk. The wood has sunk, which is a winner because I was a tad worried about that. But yeah, all the botanicals are down. And I think we are just going to keep it with those Java ferns because I like this big open area in the front. And I think Corydoras and stuff will swim around in there really, really well. So the last thing to talk about before I leave this aquarium is the competition that I mentioned, well, probably at the start of this video, to be honest, and that is you have got the chance to win £200 of aquarium or pond gear. There's 2 of you can win, and all you have to do is go over to the NT Labs Facebook page or the Instagram page if you're feeling cheeky and want to enter twice. You can post a picture of your pond or aquarium on Facebook, and you can tag NT Labs with a picture of your pond or aquarium over on Instagram. The winner will be chosen, and then you may have the chance of, no, you will have the chance of winning £200, but 2 lucky people will win £200 of NT Lab stuff of your choosing. So good luck, and go see the pinned post on Facebook and Instagram to enter. So all that's left is to let Ruby and Jono decide what's going to go in here in a few weeks' time.